The dog is dying of thirst, but the river is so close. But he couldn't get a sip, so it's the cruel owner. He's trapped him with a chain. The dog can't move at all. The poor dog can only wait for death. But then, just when the dog was dying, two kind boys found him. They came and unchained the dog. Before the dog could thank them, he rushed to the river. He finally got his first sip of water. After escaping death, the dog began to wander again, hungry and hungry. He came to a small town. Suddenly, the dog sees a group of his own kind foraging around a rubbish bin. He wants to join them, but the one-toothed dog stares right back at him. The dog doesn't dare approach. Luckily, their leader, Chihuahua, is very kind. He took the dog in. That's how he got his first full meal, with the local dogs leading the way. The dog has quickly become a favorite with dog lovers. They're feeding him their own food. The dog also learned how to dig through rubbish bins from Doctor. He never goes hungry again, but the fun is short-lived. At night, all the companions went back to their masters, but the dog had no home. He was almost killed by a homeless man. Now it's hard to trust strangers. In order to find his true master, the dog can only say goodbye to his companions to continue his life as a stray. However, the way home is even harder than the dog imagined. Before he knew it, 2 winters had passed. The dog is still wandering alone in the rare mountain. He couldn't find his way home. What's worse, a pack of wolves have been eyeing the dog for a long time. They've been following him for a long time. That day, the dog smells the danger again. The wolves are still at it. They're finally ready to kill the dog. They forced the dog into a mountainous area full of cliffs and outcrops. The dog has no chance of winning against the ferocious wolf, but his longing for his master drove him not to sit still, so he barks loudly. He tried to drive the wolves away with his energy, but the wolves don't care. The dog finally made it to his owner's city, but as he was crossing the street, a car sped past him and knocked the dog to the ground and instantly fell into a coma. But in his heart, the voice of his homecoming was screaming at him. He's about to meet his master and mustn't give up. Finally, after a while, the dog stood up with great perseverance. He dragged his injured leg and continued to run towards home. It took 3 years, over 1,100 days and nights, over 700 kilometers. The dog has finally returned to his former home. He tell him how much he misses him, but when he opens the door, he sees a strange face, and after entering the house, the dog found that everything had changed. The scent of his master was gone. Then he realized that his master had already moved to a place he didn't know. At this moment, the dog's heart was broken. After all the hard work, he finally came back home, but he didn't expect to end up like this. The dog has no strength left. A woman soon called the police. She kicked the dog out. The dog was in severe pain from his broken leg. He limped down the street. Suddenly, he thought of the military sanatorium where his master used to work. He saw hope in his heart, and his heavy steps became lighter. After hours of traveling, the dog finally arrived at the entrance of the sanatorium. When the veterans saw the dog, they looked incredulous. At one time, the dog was very popular at the nursing home. Whenever a veteran was depressed, he would lie on the veteran's lap and comfort him. The arrival of the dog brought them a lot of joy. They thought the fun would last forever, but an accident led to the dog being captured by dog dealers. They thought the dog would never come back. They couldn't believe it. Lost for 3 years, the dog can walk back by himself. They don't know how many obstacles the dog has gone through on the way. They all went up to the dog and petted him, but the dog wasn't happy because there's only one person he wants to see.